Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode here today with part 10 of our F1 2021 MyTeam career mode. This time we're preparing to go to the Belgium Grand Prix at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, a track that I think I do alright at. It's certainly not my best track, it's not my worst track either though. You can see we've got about 566 resource points, so just going through having a look at some upgrades that we might be able to get on before we go to the track. Obviously they won't come through, but obviously every day matters when it comes to putting upgrades on the car. But yeah, by the looks of things, there isn't really much we can do. We can only just about afford this MGUH upgrade, and I think about it for a bit, and I was going to do it, but we've already got too many upgrades coming through there. So yeah, unfortunately no upgrades that we can purchase at this point, but we would have done whatever we could at the end of the last episode. So if you didn't see that, make sure to go check it out. We're at Hungary and we got a 6th place finish, which is very good. We had a lot of pace there, surprisingly, coming through from the back of the field and able to go right up fighting with those guys at the front. That was pretty exciting. But you can see here, having a look at the performance chart, we move away from Williams a little bit there. They flatline coming into this weekend, so they brought no upgrades in, and yeah, unfortunately everyone else has brought in a bunch of upgrades as well, except AlphaTauri. But you can see Alfa Romeo, Alpine and Haas all ahead of us, either bringing in more upgrades or the same upgrades as us here. So they're all closing up going into this weekend. Hopefully we can join them soon. We've got a lot of upgrades in the pipeline. But having a look further up the grid there, you can see Mercedes brought in maybe one minor upgrade, but Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren and Aston Martin all brought in some more, and they're all closing in. So you can see the field sort of separating into two packs here, about halfway down the pecking order. So we've sort of got Formula A and Formula B, so to speak, but the gap isn't really too big between those groups. So yeah, points are certainly still on the table going into a race weekend, and hopefully maybe we can get some more as we head into this weekend and further on down the line. You can see Matsushita actually didn't get any resource points for this practice session, which was a big surprise. I don't know exactly what went wrong there, but you can see we got a bunch of development boosts still. I still finished all the practice programs in that quick practice minigame there, and you can see getting some driver acclaim to our name. Unfortunately, it wasn't a lot. It is just practice, so you don't normally get a huge amount. That's normally qualifying in the race where you get a bunch. So yeah, hopefully that continues. You can see heading into qualifying though, it is going to be another wet qualifying. This is our second wet session, or second wet weekend I guess, after the Austrian Grand Prix where we had our first outing in the rain. And yeah, the pace was very good there, so hopefully we can replicate that heading into this weekend. You can see heading out onto track now with about 12 minutes to go, leaving us enough time to do some extra runs if we need to. We come out just alongside Alonso there, so luckily we come out ahead of him. But yeah, he was actually keeping pace with me through, on his outlap here, so that's not really a good omen when someone that's on an outlap is keeping pace with you on your quick lap. You can see we head through No Name Corner here, getting through there nice and gingerly. The track was very slippery. It was a lot more slippery than Austria was, but you can see as I come to complete my first lap, Alonso is actually trying to find a way through here, so certainly not the best. You can see straddling the curbs like the McLarens were in real life around here. Obviously it was wet there in real life. Hopefully we get to actually do a race unlike them this time, but you can see we go P12 on our first lap there, just ahead of Matsushita. We're about 6/10 off of Giovinazzi though, so that's a massive gap. And you can see after everyone's done their first run, it's Matsushita and myself in 21st and 22nd, so that's not great. Hopefully we can find a bunch more pace. I don't know if we'll make it through to Q2, but hopefully at least we're not at the very bottom of Q1. You can see getting a massive tank slapper heading out of turn 1 here on our second lap. And this is going to be our only lap. Unfortunately I sort of stuffed up the timing, and I was going to try and do 2 laps on this last tyre, but I only have enough time to do 1. But you can see just through Radion there, I found about a 10th and a half, and then only about a third of the way through the lap, we're 8/10 up, nearly. We'd lose a bit of time through the hairpin there, heading through No Name Corner. We're back to 8/10 up, getting another massive tank slapper there. And yeah, we're about 8.5 tenths as we now head through this very fast flowing section. Even in the wet, this section is still pretty fast, and we're about 1.6 seconds up there. You can see a lot of wheel spin on this very greasy track. We're using all of the exit curb there to try and widen the track and carry as much speed as we possibly can. We're about 1.8 seconds up at this point. You can see qualifying's finished. Matsushida's up in 20th after completing his last lap, and they actually gets dropped to 21st as Giovinazzi improves. So hopefully we're not going to end up at the bottom two positions. It's all up to us now as we head into the final bus stop chicane. Once again, we're going to straddle these curves, try and help the car get rotated as much as we possibly can, trying to get the power down heading out of the last corner. It's going to be about 1.9 second improvement, but it's only enough to put us into P17, I think it was, there at the end of qualifying. You see Bottas on provisional pole, only just over Sergio Perez, and there we are in P17, only about a tenth off of making it through to Q2 there. The two Alfa Romeos, sort of the best of this, I want to say, this group that's sort of at the back of the field, consisting of Alfa Romeo, ourselves, Haas and Williams. So they've come out on top of us there. Unfortunately, we lose out on the rivalry there to Alonso by a point. So we're 1 point behind him there. And there's still 4 races to go though. So, you know, if we can have some good races and maybe Alonso has some poor qualifyings, then we should be able to make a comeback in that rivalry. That's the hope anyway. Because if you do lose a rivalry, you lose a fair amount of driver acclaim. So, yeah, I don't want to be doing that. We can't really afford that when we're trying to move forward in the team acclaim and get sponsorship. But that is all for qualifying. So now it's time to move on to the Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes Forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high-quality racing as well. Simply put it, there really is no place quite like Spa. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, and Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, and Sebastian Vettel, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, and Ocon, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Benjamin and Mick Schumacher, Russell, Mazepin, Latifi and Nobuharu Matsushita. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Right, so here we are on the grid. And time to have a look at our strategy. You can see it's going to be a simple one stop from the softs to the mediums, pitting in on lap 8. We're going to put the fuel right down here because, as we know, this MyTeam car doesn't really use a lot of fuel as it is without any upgrades. So, yeah, we should have plenty of fuel in the tank for the Grand Prix. Starting down in P17, we've got 5 red lights, and away we go for the Belgium Grand Prix. It's a pretty good launch. We're going to pull pretty much alongside Giovinazzi there, and we're going to have a nice clear run to dive to the inside of turn 1 here. You can see alongside Yuki Tsunoda right in behind Lance Stroll, making sure not to make any contact here at turn 1, and we're now going to be alongside the AlphaTauri of Tsunoda, trying to just sort of scare him out of it, but it looks like we're going to be going side by side through Radion here, and we do hold position over Yuki Tsunoda as we now make our way down the Camel Straight. You can see we're already up into P13, and we've got our rival Fernando Alonso just ahead of us. He's trying to find a way through on Lance Stroll as we head into this very quick right, left, right section, and we are closing in on the Spaniard and Canadian as they go side by side through here, and we're going to try and make the most of this opportunity and see if we can make a move on at least one of these guys, but not quite able to at the moment. You can see they're still going side by side, which is absolutely insane that they've managed to hold it for this long. The AI this year really are very fast here, and this is actually going to allow Yuki Tsunoda to find a way through, as we just didn't really have anywhere to go, and we run wide through Puon as now Esteban Ocon making his way through. We're going to try and dive back down the inside though. We want to hold on to as many positions as we can in this early stage of the race. And we are now riding behind Yuki Tsunoda. So, yeah, it's a good start, going from 17th to 14th. We were in 13th at one point, very much looking like we could have gotten at least 12th. But, yeah, unfortunately, there just wasn't anywhere to go around here. Too wide really seems to be the maximum here. But you can see we're going to go to the inside of Yuki Tsunoda here as we head through Blanchimont. And we actually do just completely get the move done there. I was expecting to go side by side into the chicane here, but we do have the position because Valtteri Bottas has the fastest lap, so Bottas leading the way over his teammate Hamilton. Those two are in a very tight championship battle this year, so it could go down to the last race. By the looks of things, they keep swapping positions after every single round, but now we come out of turn 1 and it's a pretty decent run. Unfortunately, it looks like the AI just have a lot better traction than the players able to get out of there. As we head onto lap 4, Sebastian Vettel's actually spun at turn 1 there. He was doing very well, so that's unfortunate there for the German in the Aston Martin, unfortunately. Yeah, still spinning at this point, which helps us, actually, as we're in 12th now. So all it would take is a safety car or a couple DNFs and we could be in the points. But you can see Tsunoda with DRS just absolutely flies past us there. Absolutely nothing we could do about that. We're already running low on ERS, but we're going to have a look at what happened to Vettel here. And it wasn't any contact, it was just all on himself. You can see through turn 1, just getting a bit eager on the power. And he spins, luckily going off into the runoff area there and not spinning on the track, because that could have been a big accident. But you can see now cutting to lap 4 again, we've got Kimi Raikkonen trying to attack us. So yeah, the pace around here just wasn't very good, unfortunately. With just Puon being such a fast corner, the AI, unfortunately, they're just so fast through those super quick corners. They have so much grip that unfortunately we just can't keep up with. You can see Raikkonen's able to go through. So yeah, unfortunately I was faster than these guys through the last sector. Like that was much quicker. You can see Carlos Sainz actually out of the Grand Prix there, 2 races in a row. And you can see there we run very wide as we just trying to keep up with Kimi Raikkonen. But we're going to have a look at a replay here to see what happened to Carlos Sainz. And you can see there some smoke starting to come out the back of that Ferrari. And it is just an engine failure there for the Spaniard. So having a torrid time this season in that Ferrari. It's his first season, so maybe we'll see him moving at some point out of that team and into one that he feels like would be a better fit. But you can see as we head through Radion, Ocon out of nowhere just trying to make the move. I was trying to make a move on Kimi Raikkonen there, and yeah, the Frenchman trying to take a part of this, and we're going to actually go 3 wide down the Camel Straight, and we're going to dive to the inside and just about hold position there over Ocon, and that allows Raikkonen to sort of have a look. But we do get through there ahead of Raikkonen, and actually Giovinazzi got through on Ocon. So yeah, that's a big move there. That was quite scary, but you can see we've got Valtteri Bottas just in front of us, actually, as those guys that started the race, they got through to Q3, making their early pit stops. But now at the end of lap 8, it's our turn to make a pit stop, and I imagine just everyone's going to be on a 1 stop for this race. It's a pretty simple race, not a lot of tyre wear around here, which is surprising, actually, considering the amount of high-speed corners and big elevation changes that you have to make. You'd think there'd be a lot of pressure on these tyres, but every year it seems to just be a pretty simple 1 stop. Yeah, at least in the game it is. But you can see it's got a pretty good stop there as we go on to the mediums, and we're actually out right behind Tsunoda because he got held up quite a bit with everyone coming into the pit lane. So we could very potentially be looking at making up a spot on Yuki Tsunoda, even just this lap, because we will have DRS, because there's the detection zone that we've just gone through. And now as we head down the Camel Straight, we are going to have DRS. You can see there in the bottom right, counting down the meters until we get to the zone, and we have got it. But you can see, even though I've got Slipstream, I'm using DRS and overtake mode, I'm barely catching up to the AlphaTauri. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, to be honest. I don't know if maybe he's got a fresh component in for this weekend or something, but yeah, that was really strange. I wasn't able to catch up. You can see as we head on to lap 11 now, so a couple laps later, we're still right behind Tsunoda. I actually had some pretty good pace on these fresh mediums as we head down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. I am closing up here. I don't have a lot of overtake mode though yet, but so yeah, that's gonna definitely run out before we even get ahead of Tsunoda as we head down the Camel Straight. I'm a bit closer, so the slipstream's a bit stronger, and we're going to go to the inside as we head down the Camel Straight. Are we going to be able to go for the move? There's a bit of contact as we head into the corner. We're going to go side by side through. I'm going to have the outside here, and we do just get ahead as we sweep right here, just about running a little bit wide. Luckily not touching the gravel like I was when I chased Raikkonen down, but that is us up into P11 actually. So all it would take is a safety car or a 1 DNF from someone ahead of us, and we'd actually be getting points here, which I wouldn't be expecting, because this, even just in qualifying in this race, the pace has not been very good. Honestly, I was expecting this to be one of those write-off rounds for points that we've been having, but you can see an example of how much speed the AI have through Prix there if you have a look in the left mirror as we now head through this very fast sweeping right-left-hander as we go side by side with Yuki Tsunoda. We're down the inside and we're still actually side by side. We get through, but you can just see through Prix how much quicker he was able to go, even with dirty air, did nothing, and actually Tsunoda's trying to find a way through now with the slipstream, but we are able to hold position through Blanchimont there. Not very easy to go side by side unless you've been side by side for a fair bit. And then actually we head into the bus stop. Tsunoda once again coming back at us. So Tsunoda very feisty here. You can see I'm going to go for a cutback here through that last corner, and we are going to pull up alongside, although unfortunately Yuki has DRS, so he's going to pull ahead again as we head into turn 1. But once again, we're going to try cut back. It doesn't really work as we make a bit of contact with the back of the AlphaTauri there, but we are once again right behind, and we will have DRS as we head down the Camel Straight. So yeah, this is a pretty fierce battle we've got with the AlphaTauri it's not even for the points at this moment. We're still in 11th, but I think the both of us know how important P11 can be, especially when you're only halfway through the race. Anything can happen to any of the cars ahead of you, but we have to be careful of Raikkonen behind. But we are going to go to the outside as we head down the Camel Straight. So sort of swapping positions from last time, but this time we actually get the move done earlier. So hopefully we're able to use these corners to get through, although actually really not great through there, hitting the gravel on the outside. And yeah, luckily holding onto the car. I thought I was going to lose it at that point, but you can see heading through the final chicane, we've actually got Pierre Gasly in the pit lane, and Tsunoda comes into the pit lane as well. So I don't know what sort of strategy this is from the AlphaTauri guys to be coming in on lap 13 here, but yeah, it's really strange. You can see it's put us up into P10 exactly like we said it would, but Gasly on those fresh mediums I imagine is going to really be chasing us down. So yeah, we're going to have to hope for some sort of safety car or something if we want to be staying ahead for any length of time, because I imagine he's going to catch up pretty quickly. He's behind Raikkonen, but that just means he's going to have DRS down this Camel Straight, and he's going to get even closer to us as we now cut to a bit further on through lap 13. Now you can see how much closer he is. He's already within a second, and he's chasing us down. If you have a look at the left side mirror here as we head through Puon, look how much Gasly's able to close in on us as he actually gets alongside us before we're even out of the corner, and he's going to try and go around the outside. We're going to hold it side by side because this is an important position to be in P10 here. As actually, Gasly spins. We run a bit wide there because I saw something going on with his car, so it sort of put me off a bit. But yes, Gasly, he has stayed in 11th. He's only about 1.2 seconds back, but you can see here, we're going to have a look at a replay of what happened. You can see we're going alongside each other here as we head through the right-hander. It stays pretty clean. As we go through the left-hander, he just gets up on that curb and sort of goes for a half spin. There was no contact there. You can see I kick up a bit of dust there as I touch the gravel, but yeah, that's a strange one. Normally, if the AI makes some sort of mistake like that, it's usually a full spin. But yeah, just sort of a half spin there for Gasly. And you can see as we head on to lap 14, only about half a lap later after that incident, he's able to absolutely fly past us there with DRS. And yeah, I try to stay right behind him and keep up, but it doesn't really work out on those fresh mediums. He's just able to take off at this point. As you can see, we cut onto lap 16. He's absolutely gone 5.7 seconds down the road, and we actually now have Giovinazzi who's caught up to us. So our tyres have sort of lost that freshness, and once again the pace is just nowhere to be seen as the Italian flies past us down the Camel Straight with DRS. It almost seemed like every single lap that we came down the Camel Straight, someone would be trying to either fight us or try and put a big move on us. So yeah, unfortunately dropping down to P12, and yeah, the pace was just not great, but this time around I was able to keep up with Giovinazzi, but you can see Ocon is actually catching him behind us. I don't know what happened to Raikkonen. He must have made a pit stop. Maybe there was a bit of contact with Ocon and he had to get front wing change, but you can see we are only just about going to get ahead of Giovinazzi as we head down the Camel Straight, as opposed to when the AI pass us, they absolutely fly. So I'm not too sure what's going on, because if you remember back to the Hungaroring just last round, we did take those new engine components, and that's what we're using this time around. So it's not like we've got an old engine or anything. It's barely worn, but I don't know. This AI was just absolutely destroying us on the straights. You can see Giovinazzi flying past And I don't think it helped that we had such little ERS, but I was just having to use it because otherwise the AI would just pass me anywhere else. So I was using the ERS to stay ahead everywhere else. You can see trying to dive down the hairpin there on Giovinazzi, but not quite able to make the move stick. But yeah, you can see here I'm having to use ERS to catch up to Giovinazzi here, because otherwise he was going to get out of DRS range down the Camel Straight. So yeah, a big issue there. You can see as we get DRS enabled, we run out of ERS at basically the same time there. And we are on lap 20 right now. For those of you that didn't notice, we've jumped quite a way through this Grand Prix pretty quickly. There wasn't too much actual battling going on, more just trying to keep up with Giovinazzi at this stage of the race. And you can see I've got no ERS left, and this is allowing Ocon to get through. My only saving grace at this point is having the DRS on Giovinazzi. As we head down the Camel Straight on the final lap of the Grand Prix, we don't have any more slipstream. We just about have DRS, but because we don't have any slipstream, Ocon now is going to try and make his way through. Unfortunately, unfortunately for him, I guess, he got a bit caught up, so he wasn't able to use all that momentum. He scrubbed quite a bit off, having to back off and try and make a move elsewhere down the straight. But you can see on the right-hand side there, the tyres are wearing out quite a bit. We've got that warning marker. But you can see on the last couple corners, we are going to hold on to P12 here. It's not a great finish, but it is pretty good considering how poor our pace was compared to other weekends.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So here we are then with the results for the Belgian Grand Prix. You can see Bottas wins it ahead of Hamilton, and then Ricciardo rounds out the podium there. You can see there we are, P12, only 53 seconds off of the win there, which with no safety cars is pretty good actually. You can see Matsushita in P19, unfortunately. He does move up a couple positions, but yeah, unfortunately they're not another great round for him there. But having a look at the standings, you can see we stay in P9. Quite a few points, 5 points ahead of Pierre Gasly in 10th there. So yeah, at the moment the driver standings looking pretty good. Not that it really means much, because for this series we're looking to get up there in the constructors as opposed to the drivers. But it's just good to see that we have enough pace to sort of be best of the rest even. So that's pretty good. But you can see we stay in P7 here, only 2 points ahead of Alpine. But the fact that we're even up in P7 is just amazing. Like, that just was not expected at all when I started this series. But you can see rivalry breakdown. Alonso getting another 2 points on us there, so he's got 3 points over us now in the rivalry. He's halfway to 30 points, so it's not looking too good there in that aspect. You can see we get pretty close to leveling up to level 8 acclaim. Matsushita is about 2/3 of the way to level 9, and Team Acclaim we actually didn't get as much as I was hoping for, but you can see they're getting both sponsor objectives complete and getting an extra 610 grand in our pockets. In terms of just normal incoming cash, we get 115 grand, only a small amount of damage it looks like we had. I certainly didn't notice anything from the start of the race to the end of the race. I don't even know where I would have got damage. But yeah, we've got 3.2 mil in the bank, and yeah, the money's looking good. Resource points, we got just under 1,000, so some upgrades will definitely be on the way. You can see there I choose to go with powertrain team building, get some extra morale there to help with any future upgrades we may have coming in. Hopefully we can start moving up this performance table, because yeah, it's not great that we're just sort of staying where we are. Like, we are bringing in upgrades, but everyone else is bringing in upgrades at the same rate, so hopefully we can bring more in. You can see I tried to go with engine upgrade there, but unfortunately we've got too many components being upgraded at once. So yeah, that's why it's important to upgrade facility, so you can get some simultaneous upgrades. Having a look at a chassis upgrade here though, we do get that, and that'll be coming in just before the Russian Grand Prix. So if you have a look at that performance chart real quick, where it does, it is looking good. We just have to hope we can get some upgrades coming in, which that's not what we want. We don't we don't want to be having any upgrades failing, because that one slows down the development as it is, let alone the fact that it wastes a bunch of resource points every time that happens, which that is just a durability upgrade, but it's still, it still slows production down. But you can see there, we're pretty much ready to move on to the Dutch Grand Prix, that Max Verstappen's home race. But that is all for today's episode, everyone. I hope you did enjoy. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.